And Congressman James Lankford of Oklahoma, chairman of the House Republican Policy Committee, joins me now. So, Congressman, the basic plan is the House Republicans will offer a 6-week extension of the debt limit. Is that right?
Right. It's a temporary extension to give us time to be able to finish the negotiations on the debt limit.
What's the rationale for keeping the government closed during this time? What purpose is that serving?
Sure. Actually, there's not a gain that we're trying to accomplish by that. It's a matter of there are two different issues that are happening simultaneously. Let's take one of them off the table and let's finish out the work of the negotiations on the second one and let's get it done. So we've been concerned about both. The president's concerned about both. We're meeting him halfway and saying let's take this one element off the table. We all know that there are long-term debt issues that have to be dealt with. We'll deal with those as we work into November. Let's deal with what we have right now and let's get that resolved.
Right, but the votes are reportedly there for a clean government spending bill, and that only would last, I think, until November or early December anyway. So why not let the people who need WIC money, let the people who want to visit the zoo and the national parks, let the people who want to enter the NIH clinical trials, why not let that go forward while you negotiate?
Yeah, you actually know well that all those things you just mentioned, we funded every single one of those already with independent standalone votes. We've sent those to the Senate. They refused to take those up. So every single thing on your list we agree on. We've already sent that over. We said let's find the areas where we have common ground. Let's pass those things and make sure they're not affected, just like we did with the United States military 3 weeks ago, and said let's pass that and make sure that's not an issue during this time. That the Senate and the president did agree on that one. So let's take those things off the table. Let's find the areas that we can resolve and let's fix it.
Right. Now, I get that, although the Senate and the president say they want to fund one bill at once. But I guess the question I have is the government spending bill is not a spending bill for another year or another 2 years. Right. It's just for a few weeks, really. So since you're talking about lifting the debt ceiling, why not also let the people who want these government services, the 800,000 furloughed workers, the thousands, hundreds of thousands of federal employees who are working for no paycheck right now. Right. Why not just let that solve that problem on a short-term basis as well?
No, we'd be glad to. That's part of the reason we're sitting down and negotiate with the president today. We sent the message over early to say this is where we are with the debt ceiling. We want to try to get that all off the table. We're very willing to be able to negotiate on the CR as well and get all of our government funded completely on this. This is where we've been for 10 days. That's the frustrating part is 10 days ago we said if we would sit down together in one room face to face, we could work this out. This is not rocket science. Governments have done this for the last 200 years. We can do this if we'll ever sit down. The Senate said no every single day for 10 days, and the president said he won't negotiate. All that we want to do is let's sit down. I think we can resolve this. We're going to be reasonable in the process, and then let's get it resolved and let's get it all back open and all back functioning again.
Well, it all started, of course, because House Republicans linked the complete defunding of Obamacare to government spending. Whatever happened to that? In an op-ed in USA Today yesterday, you wrote, quote, Republicans have asked for 2 things on Obamacare and 1 thing on the debt ceiling, but you didn't mention defunding Obamacare. Is that just off the table now?
That's currently off the table. We understand that. I can tell you that's where my constituents are. Overwhelmingly, they're at a spot to say they don't want this law to go into effect at all. But that's obviously not going to happen at this point. So we said, okay, let's do this. Same thing I mentioned that USA Today op-ed piece. Let's have the first year, the penalties not apply to people if they make a mistake or they don't want to do it this first year. We've already seen the problems on the website. This law requires you go on this website, you buy insurance, and it's in place. There are obviously going to be problems with that, not just for the next couple of weeks, but it looks like for the next couple of months as they get this resolved. Take the penalties off the table for the first year and apply the effects of Obamacare the same to members of Congress and the White House as it does to everyday citizens.
Yeah, the problems with Obamacare is something I would be covering much more if I weren't covering the government shutdown and this threat of default.
Yeah, we felt like that's a very reasonable position to say businesses have already been given a break for the first year from penalties. Do that for individuals. The exchanges still go into effect. Everything's still moving forward. But we've told individuals you're not going to have to worry about the penalties of it if you make a mistake.
Just take the fines off the table for the first year. The last time, as you know, we got this close to default, the stock market fell 17%. Household wealth declined by more than $2 trillion. Retirement accounts took a major hit. Falling $800 billion. The U.S. was downgraded. Obviously, you and the House Republicans, the Senate Democrats, President Obama working right now to have this short-term bill to make sure that doesn't happen over the next week. But why are we even here talking about this, knowing what happened in 2011 when we came so close to hitting the debt ceiling?
Yeah, I can give you a couple things on that. One is the premise of the reason we were downgraded was because of the fight around the debt ceiling. That was part of it. The main part of the issue was the amount of debt and that there was no solution. That the bondholders looked out on the horizon and said, no one's serious about trying to resolve the debt issues. This continued to climb, and so they downgraded us. So part of it was the political, but the biggest part of it was the size and the growth of our debt and deficits and no results for it. So that's part of it. The other part of it is that right now the House and the Senate have not worked together to be able to resolve a budget, have not been able to plan. There have been 0 appropriations bills done by the Senate. There's been only 4 done by the House. We're not able to get the normal process to get all of our budget together. So now we're stuck with this very bad process of cramming it all together at the end of the year before a continuing resolution or around a debt ceiling. It's by far second, third best. Best thing that we can do is do the normal appropriations process and get this resolved. Since we don't have the normal appropriations process working, we have to do it like this.
As you know, the Senate passed a budget in March.
Right.
Democrats say, the White House and Senate Democrats say that they have requested, I think they say 19 times, that House Republicans send what are called conferees, members of the House, to sit down with the Senate and work out the differences between budgets. What's your response to that? Why have House Republicans, at least according to the Democrats, not done that, not sent the conferees?
Right. We've actually done an informal conference for the last several months. Paul Ryan and Patty Murray have continued to meet, continue to try to work through some kind of resolution. Very typical in a conference when you're this far apart, and we're a long way apart, is to try to do informal conference. Once you get some basis of that agreement, you sit down and do a formal conference and try to resolve it. They have been able to get a resolution in the informal conference part of it. I know it makes good politics to say we sent all these other votes to say you won't conference there. They're trying to make up for lost time for, quite frankly, when the House said for 3 years to the Senate, you won't even do a budget year after year after year. So they're having a little payback time on that. The reality is there have been behind the scenes conversations. Those are appropriate to happen. And then let's get into a formal conference. I'd be willing to have that formal conference even right now if we're willing to be able to get everybody into one room and get it resolved.
Before you go, Congressman, I just want to ask you about the politics of this rather than the policy. The AP puts congressional approval rating for Congress, the public's approval rating for Congress, at 5%. Gallup puts Republican favorability at 28%. Right. Surely, as somebody who wants the House Republicans to keep their majority in 2014, to pick up the Senate in 2014, to win the presidency in 2016, surely these numbers must bother you.
Oh, sure they do. Yeah, but they bother everybody. The president in that same poll, I think, came in at 37% of approval rating. That's an incredibly low number for a president of the United States as well. It's painful for all of us. While everyone wants to look at it and say, who's to blame, and that's a good game to do on it, ultimately, everybody's mad at everybody.
Sure,
that's why you've got a 5%
the president's
rating for
approval
Congress.
rating is bad, the Democrats' approval rating is bad, but the Republicans' approval rating is horrific.
Sure it is. Yeah, it is, and we get that. For us, we've tried to approach these issues for a long time. The people in our districts, I can tell you, don't want to do a government shutdown, neither do we. They also don't want to have to face some of the issues with the Affordable Care Act that they're actually legitimately concerned about, and they want to get some resolution. The challenge is we're at a spot where we're trying to keep the government open. At the same time, we're actually trying to deal with the Affordable Care Act, and that's hitting an impasse at this point.
All right, Congressman James Lankford, Republican of Oklahoma, we thank you for your time.